どれにするのかしら。決めたわよ。いろんな音量を変更できるわよ。
Now, technically, I had to switch games just because I felt like nobody was basically showing up and all that. It wasn't enough entertainment, so I'm basically just gonna be having a serious conversation with y'all about this whole entire thing. And no, this is definitely not a joke. This is actually for real to where I'm basically about to talk to y'all about this. Technically, what y'all not understanding is that I am not, you know, like I apologize about my whole entire actions of why I haven't been uploading anything and why I haven't been trying my best to be able to do as much stuff as I can. Y'all have to understand is that I'm basically going through a whole lot of things that are going on right now. It's really too much to process. Excuse me. Excuse me. The reason why I say these things and the reason why I had to bring this up is because of the amount of strugglements I've been going through lately. Like, it's really at that moment to where I'm trying my best to be able to process many things as best as I can, and let's just say it's, quite tough for me to be able to put it in my whole entire vocabulary. Like, I understand I reached my goal. I basically worked hard to be able to get this far, but I'm just trying to figure out, but at what cost, though? I mean, some of y'all basically, I mean, some people basically care about my streams and some people don't, and I can understand that, but some people have to take time to understand the factor of why I'm basically, you know, never really, how do I put this? Like, I don't really like to do live streams that much, especially when it comes to my, you know, days that I work hard in my job and I come home from work all the time. It's literally the same process, and I understand that most people just want me to continue these kind of paths, but somewhere between the line, I'm starting to understand the two sides of what I'm going through with, like the two sides of the coin and all that is what I'm trying to break it down to you. It's literally what I'm basically explaining here. Like, you know how you try your best to be able to keep yourself motivated, but at the same time you feel weird out? That's exactly how I am every single day. I can still try my best to be able to do stuff, but at the same time, I'm just so drained out, so wired out to where I can't be able to do anything. That's the whole process of the moment. And it's a lot of things that are going on in this world right now. So where people are just too blind to understand of what's really in front of them. And what really messes me up is that some people can try to say, oh, nothing is clearly wrong with them because they want to claim that they're very perfect in every other way. Technically, y'all don't seem to read much of the Bible like I do because it says that only God is the perfect being. No one else can be perfect than God. That's how I can be able to imagine it in that type of way. I don't consider myself to be perfect. I make mistakes 24/7. I make mistakes every single day that I'm living and every single night. Why do you think most people still worry about me, but at the same time, I try my best to be able to worry less because it adds stress on to me. That's something that I've been viewing on myself lately, and that's still what I'm doing every single day. Putting myself in my own point of view and not putting myself in anyone else's shoes if I have to, but not really. Because some people can try to say, oh, all that sounds a little selfish when it obviously doesn't. There have been plenty of times where I basically, you know, didn't need anything like that to be able to keep me down. It's called keeping your own position, staying in the clear, not bringing yourself upon attention to people. I don't bring myself to attention to people. Just like how I don't bring myself to attention when I'm at my job. I basically just go to work, do what I have to do, clock out, and clock out at the end of my shift, and then just, repeat the cycle over and over again. I've basically been doing this whole entire thing for my whole entire life of this job that I've been working at. Keep in mind, I've been working there for about 5 years right now. I've been working there for about 5 years. I simply do not care about the whole promotions and all that other stuff or employee of the month. I simply don't care for any of that kind of stuff. All I care about is coming to work, making my coworkers happy, making the customers happy, making everybody else happy, and doing my job in 100% completion without any, you know, hesitation from it. I mean, does that make sense? It makes sense to me. Some people just try to say, "Oh, that just sounds like total bullcrap," when it doesn't. Keep in mind, I've been doing all these things for a very long time, and I know how things work. I mean, would any of y'all agree the same thing that I'm basically going through with? Because the job, like, keep in mind, I'm a busser. I've been working there for about 5 years. I simply do not care about promotions or any of that other stuff that people just bring upon to. The only thing I care about when I go to work is doing my job, do what I have to do, finish up my last duties, and then get ready to clock out and then just leave and repeat the same cycle for the next day. It's quite the same thing that people struggle with because most people nowadays don't even have a job. I enjoy my job. Some people, the older people, like my older coworkers that used to work at my job, some of them are still there because they enjoy their job. While some of the other coworkers that didn't like their job decided to leave. They either left, quit it, or got fired. Possibly all the above. And obviously, those that probably got fired or probably quitted, that's on them. I'm not gonna be happy about it. I simply just, don't care what they do in life as long as they ain't doing no criminal stuff or whatever. Because if they try to get one of us to be able to bail them out of jail, that's something that we can't do. We're sorry. Keep in mind, I basically already know plenty of people that's already in jail as it is. So, excuse me. That's just something that people have to understand. We literally cannot handle any of it. Even if some people were talking about something, but what if it was your ex that was in jail? I would tell all my exes like this right now. Basically, I do not care if you're in jail. Only advice I can give you is don't drop the soap, because you never know what's going to happen. Like, well, keep in mind, some people expect me to be a competitive person when it comes to these kind of things, like promotions and all that. I'm not a competitive person to get promotions or employee of the month or any of that mumbo jumbo crap. The only thing that I care about is doing my job and repeating the cycle over and over again. That's the only thing I care for. All that other stuff that people do to get their job and to increase their job a lot better, that's something I don't care for. That's just something I don't care for. Plenty of people have to understand. I don't care for any of that extra, you know, extra employee stuff and all that. It's something I can't get down with. Sure, I can get down with it when it comes to other people that I care for that got that, such as like coworkers or family members and that kind of stuff. I can care for that. All the other stuff, I typically do not care. I'm just in my own zone. I basically just come to work and do my own job, just making sure everything is all good. But would anybody would simply care if it was actually like, any other thing that I like? Not entirely sure. Maybe, I guess. I don't know. That's just my own opinion. I simply don't need to argue or bring that kind of stuff up to anybody's attention at all. Like I said, I just do my own thing. Shoot, I come to work like everybody else, doing my job and making sure to repeat the same cycle over and over. As long as I'm doing my job correctly and not getting into any trouble, then we're good. Because people expect me to get involved with a lot of trouble, but y'all not understanding my skin color. Y'all don't see the skin color on me. I'm not getting involved in any of that. I'm just a regular guy that's just trying to live his life to the fullest, doing what everybody else does, which is coming to work and just doing a job. It is what it is. I don't need to come to work doing all that extra stuff like everybody else does. No. I don't need to try to glaze up on anybody when I'm coming to work. I don't glaze on anybody. I literally just come to work being who I am. Like, that's just how I am. I don't need people to be able to see any of that kind of stuff for what it is. Like you, like I be telling most other people, you don't need to be caring what anybody else is doing or what they basically got going on with their life. You have to find something that basically makes you feel better, what makes you happy, what makes you who you really are within. I mean, take a look at me for example. I'm always focused on doing what I gotta do. I'm making sure I'm not in any other imminent danger. Just doing my job like always. That's obviously what I do. But the point of the matter, to the way I'm saying all this, it's literally the truth. Some people think I'm just spouting out mumbo jumbo or something, but you know, it's literally the truth. Like one of the tensest moments I ever had in my whole entire life, and one of the biggest things I could get myself not involved with, is basically just doing my own job like everyone else does. That's literally the whole entire that's the whole entire point of it all. I'm just spitting facts. Some people think I'm just spitting out a bunch of lies when I'm clearly not. Sure, I can consider myself as a liar, but you still have to understand is that when most people don't know what they're really doing, that's just how it is. I don't consider myself as a perfect person. I still consider myself as a how do I how do I put this though? I don't consider myself as a good person every now and then. Sometimes I'm basically in a in between type of thing. I mean, I do have a mean side of me. It's just that, I try my best not to be able to let anyone see that other side of me. It's just literally how I am. Like, do people really expect me to just, I don't know, try to make things a lot more better than what it is? Well, to be honest with you, that's a yes and a no, but most of the times it's just a no. I don't go places just to be able to try to impress people. I literally just do my own thing. Especially if I'm on a public bus, I try my best not to be able to draw any attention to anybody or any attention to myself. I just, do my own thing. It's simple. Some people can try to say, oh, that sounds easy for me to be able to do it if not drawing attention to myself. Technically, it takes a lot of concentration to not draw attention to yourself as long as you know what you're doing. Some people can try to say that's a lie, and they can say that it's something that they can easily do. Oh, you're saying it's easier for you to do, but to me, it's easier for me to be able to hide my smile 24/7 because I don't want people seeing it. But some people like to say, "Oh, why you basically call everyone else a liar?" Because I know everybody in my family, including my friends and everyone else I basically dated my whole entire life, basically lies about something 24/7. I know when people lie. I don't need to explain how I know when people lie. I can just see it from their facial expression, the hand movements, everything else about them. I can just analyze that pretty much easier than what people can expect. I mean, some people can basically consider me as like a type of person that doesn't understand anything. Clearly, I can. It's just simple, really. I just don't need to explain myself on how I know when you're lying. All I can do is just read your whole entire facial expression or anything else that moves around you. It's simple. That's literally the whole entire thing. I don't need to explain that. And anyway, people get done explaining these kind of things, they try to consider me as like a non-reliable person around everyone else. Sure, I basically admitted myself on that whole entire thing when I was 13. That was literally in the past. I don't like to bring that up. The things that happened to me in the past, I can't discuss that on YouTube because that will cause me to get demonetized. So I don't want to explain any of that. Because what happened to me in the past stays in the past. I don't need to bring that up to anybody. I don't even bring that kind of stuff up to my coworkers. I don't. I don't discuss it with my boss. I don't discuss it with HR. I just don't tell anybody about it. Nobody needs to know about my past. I can tell about all the good memories, but as for everything else, I just can't explain that. That's something I cannot do. Like some people can say, "Oh, that just sounds wrong that you're just not wanting to tell anybody about your past." It's not that I'm basically saying it as a rude person. I'm just saying it as the truth, is because I'm very sensitive about the things I basically went through with, that I've gone through with in my whole entire life. I don't like to explain it. I just don't. I don't need to. There's no reason. There's no point. There's no typical thing for me to be able to do to be able to, you know, extend the graph of it. I don't need to do any of that. But people have to understand. I am not I'm really one of those people that does not like to explain themselves when it comes to these situations. Like everyone knows me. I don't like to explain myself on things like this. Most of the times I have to, and most of the times I don't. It's because of the way you know, it's because of the way I act. Like I've been a whole different person in my whole entire life. During those years when I was 13, I couldn't understand what life really meant unless I had to discover it for myself. That's how I've always been told by my family and everyone else. They were the ones that told me that I have to discover my own life, discover my own path, and being able to walk into my own path and not following everyone else's path. My own path basically is just something that most other people can't quite understand. Some people say that my path is just plain and empty. Sure, my road is plain empty, but I just keep it that way. It's because I stick with low expectations and not high expectations. Some people just typically do both, and that's something that, I can't see myself doing. I typically can't just follow low expectations and high expectations at the same time. I stick with low expectations, especially if it means having lower standards and not having higher standards. I have high standards against everything else, but most other things I don't have that. That's why I honestly don't like to explain any of this kind of stuff to people. I just keep it to myself. But most other times, if I have to explain it to people, I try my best not to be able to, you know, expose a bit too much information on these things. Because there are people that are listening and they don't know how to stop listening. But the factor of what I'm trying to explain to people is that I don't like to explain myself too much. All I can say to these kind of matters is that there are people out there whose words alone cannot reach for themselves. Some people are destined to be happy and some people are destined to not be happy. Technically, to me, it's just both, but I just stick with being a happy person for a reason. I don't like it when people just try to ruin it for me. That's like trying to ruin all the kids' joy by telling them that Santa Claus don't exist. Just wait until they grow up a little bit and not and still in a kid age to where you want to break their whole entire dreams and their imagination. You can't just go around doing that to children. Because I understand that people like to do these kind of things, but what would be left for the children in this world? What would be left for the children? And no, I'm not bringing up any politics when it comes to these kind of things. Like I said before, I don't bring up politics when it comes to my channel. I don't bring up politics at all. I don't like to add any politics subjects that are into this channel. I don't. I just tell most other people if you want politics stuff, that's just somebody else's channel and not mine. I don't bring politics around. What I talk about in my channel does not need to be discussed. Ugh, crap, my back. But I know some people are just like, but if you really are a different kind of person that doesn't bring up politics or any of that kind of stuff, then what else do you talk about? Simple. Being a simple person and a normal person without bringing up politics in their channel. That's something I don't do. I don't bring up politicians and other people. And I don't bring up politicians and presidents and all that other stuff to what the evil, wicked people are doing nowadays. I'm literally a type of person that just wants to relax and not worry about that kind of stuff. That ain't nothing but a bunch of hippy dippy baloney that's just trying to cause people to be scared. The only reason that these kind of people do this to innocent people like that is because they want to ruin their whole entire American dreams. They want to ruin their spirit, their whole entire lifespan. Like, sure, some people can find it entertaining, but it's not entertaining to me because I don't like that. Because everybody knows the truth. I don't like that. Because to what I do in my own whole entire life is my own decision. That's no one else's decision. That's not their job. Because the truth. You think anybody's just going to. You think I'm just going to allow people to be able to dog walk me? And thinking I'm just going to allow that? Not really. Sure, I can say that most other people are, you know, not that intelligent, not even that smart. But at the same time, we still try our best to be able to be who we're supposed to be. For us as humans, citizens, and all of us alike, we don't like to let people break us down because we are just ordinary humans in the blink of their own eyes. You understand, I don't bring up politics, but the way I can say this is that freedom and justice is what we deserve. We don't deserve all this extra stuff that goes on nowadays, such as wars, bloodshed, people losing their children, their lives. That's literally what's going on right now. And I can tell for next year, something strange is about to happen. I don't know what it could be, but I'm not going to explain that. That's just something else that people can do. Because none of my matter. I simply don't care. If people want to bring in all this other stuff into my attention and thinking I can just seek out for it, go ahead. I'm not involved with that. That's obviously not my job. What I do for my whole entire life of living is just entertaining people with my live streams, making other people happy, and just, moseying on about my life. No need to worry about all the extra stuff. Because that's something that I don't do. But if people want to cry about it because they basically want to say, "Oh, he doesn't want to talk about politics because he's so sensitive," it's not that I'm sensitive. I'm basically autistic. I don't like to talk about these kind of things because at this whole entire moment of it, I missed the part where it's my problem. It's literally the truth of it. That's literally how I can explain it. That's literally how I can explain it to people. And if some people don't like the way I talk about these kind of things because I'm autistic, then go talk about it with somebody else because I'm that type of person that doesn't want to talk about these kind of things. I just don't. I just like to be in my own zone, being in my own area, and being in my own comfort spot and not talking about this kind of stuff. Because through the thick of the end, everyone goes through the same thing. And we all know what happens when we basically end up in these kind of situations. Everyone knows how our lives end. Because if I've always been told with my family members, everyone's gotta die sometime. Nobody knows when we're promised to die. Nobody knows on the whole entire thing. We not promised till tomorrow. We all gonna end up dying one day. It's the truth. There have been times where I wanted to be able to give up on these kind of things, but at the same time, I just continue to have hope. And some people just be like, why? Why do you continue to have hope? It's simple. You really think I'm just gonna give up like everybody else does and just go about my way? Well, no. But some people also have asked me, does my family bring up politics or that kind of stuff? Well, sometimes yes and sometimes no. I just don't like to discuss about it. It's literally something I don't get involved with. And we typically don't like to talk about these kind of things during family gathering. It's just something that we all don't do. Sure, some of us try to do these kind of things. To me, no. My only reason of going to family gatherings is just having fun, spending time with family, and enjoying the moments. Not trying to bring up politics and reading the sweat glances off of somebody's forehead. I don't want to do any of that. It's literally the same thing I always do every single day. All I do is basically do chores, go to work, come home from work, doing more stuff, put something in my stomach before I pass out, making sure all my work stuff is all together, and just playing my video game and live streaming. I don't have time to be reading the sweat glances off everybody else's, Facebook stuff and all that. I don't have time for any of it. Sure, some people might say that it sounds like the same process, but it is. It's the same process. It's the same thing I do 24/7. It's what I do, it's what I do for a living, and I enjoy it. I don't dislike it. I just enjoy living. Some people may not like living, but I do. Besides, I've been through way too many crazy stuff in my whole entire journey. I've seen people die in front of me before. I just don't like to explain it. I mean, think about it. Some people just think that, you know, some people think that just losing somebody that you really respect on is just supposed to be funny. I don't find any of that kind of stuff funny at all. Like, who would laugh at somebody at their funeral? That's literally just disrespectful, in my opinion. If somebody were to disrespect me at my funeral, I told my siblings, you have permission to throw that person out like it's, you know, the Fresh Prince of Bel Air all over again. Because that's how I'm gonna be able to treat rude people. That's how I want my siblings to treat rude people if they ever do that to my funeral. Because I don't like rude people. I just don't. I don't hate rude people. I just have a slight dislike against the rude people, especially to those that talk a lot of stuff about autistic people. I know plenty of other people that have autism and plenty of other disabilities. My old best friend from middle school, David, not David, Melvin, his sister. I've met his sister back in high school, and I'm actually friends with his sister though, and she a nice person. Keep in mind she has Down syndrome, and I'm basically happy that she graduated. That's why I respect all disabilities. I don't respect just one disability. I respect every last one of them. Sure, some disabilities can be terrifying, but the story behind them is very fascinating. A very fascinating story and a very fascinating life that I can be able to understand, even if I was in their shoes.